Dr. Alistair Thorne was a legend whispered across the cosmos, a name that sent shivers down the spines of even the most hardened space pirates. He was a paradox, a genius of unparalleled intellect residing on the unassuming planet Earth. His mind, a labyrinth of intricate calculations and esoteric knowledge, was unmatched in the known universe. Governments sought his counsel, corporations yearned for his expertise, but Alistair remained elusive, a solitary figure shrouded in mystery. Rumors swirled around him like nebulae in the void. Some said he was a benevolent guardian, secretly manipulating events to steer humanity towards a brighter future. Others painted him as a rogue, a puppet master pulling the strings from the shadows, motivated by an agenda known only to him. The truth, as always, was far more complex. Alistair was, above all, an observer. He viewed the universe with a detached amusement, a chess grandmaster observing pawns clash on the cosmic board. He saw patterns humans couldn't grasp, understood the intricacies of intergalactic politics better than any ambassador, and predicted with uncanny accuracy the rise and fall of empires. But his brilliance came at a cost. He found it difficult to connect with others, their petty squabbles and emotional entanglements seeming trivial compared to the vast tapestry of existence. He cared little for public opinion, pursued his own objectives with ruthless efficiency, and instilled fear in the hearts of those who crossed him. He was, in essence, a necessary evil, a man playing a game only he understood, and one that, unfortunately, often involved the lives of others. The first humans to encounter Alistair were not scientists or diplomats, but terrified civilians staring up at a colossal, skull and crossbones emblazoned vessel blotting out the night sky. Panic erupted across the globe as news of the extraterrestrial invasion spread like wildfire. Governments scrambled, communication networks overloaded, and cities became ghost towns. In the midst of this chaos, Dr. Alistair Thorne, hidden within his unassuming Illinois mansion, observed with a cool detachment. He knew the invaders. They were the Void Marauders, a notorious pirate fleet notorious for their brutality. Their arrival wasn't a coincidence. They were drawn to Earth by whispers of a hidden genius, a man who possessed technology and knowledge coveted across the galaxy. Alistair, despite his disdain for humanity, couldn't allow his research and, more importantly, his meticulously crafted sanctuary to fall into the wrong hands. He wouldn't let the chaos engulf his world, even if it meant becoming the very villain the terrified populace feared. Alistair tapped a holographic display, a map of the planet Earth filling the room. The Marauders' mothership hovered menacingly above, its shadow stretching across continents. He knew they wouldn't hesitate to attack, their thirst for power outweighing any concern for collateral damage. He had two choices: reveal himself, utilize his superior intellect to neutralize the threat, or remain hidden and watch the world burn. Alistair sighed, a sound that echoed through the silent room. He wasn't a hero, nor did he crave the role. But the thought of Earth, his haven amidst the cosmic chaos, being ravaged by these interstellar thugs fueled a flicker of something akin to anger within him. He placed a hand on the control panel, a single decision holding the fate of billions. This was just the beginning, he knew, the first move in a game with intergalactic stakes. And Dr. Alistair Thorne, the reluctant player, was about to make his next move. As the world held its breath, a figure emerged from the unassuming mansion in the Illinois cornfields. News channels, miraculously regaining some semblance of functionality, scrambled to capture the first ever human encounter with extraterrestrial life. But the figure wasn't the typical astronaut or military leader stepping out to address the alien threat. It was Dr. Alistair Thorne, his face obscured by the shadows cast by his wide-brimmed hat and thick spectacles. He approached the camera, his gait measured, his voice a calm contrast to the pandemonium. He spoke, not to the world leaders panicking in bunkers, but directly to the colossal vessel hovering ominously above. Captain Volkov of the Void Marauders, his voice resonated across the globe, clear and unwavering even through the distorted speakers. I understand your purpose. You seek knowledge, technology. However, attacking an innocent planet achieves nothing. Silence followed, broken only by the hum of the hovering ship. Then, A booming voice crackled through the speakers, laced with arrogance and condescension. "Who dares speak to Captain Volkov?" "Dr. Alistair Thorne," the figure replied, tilting his head slightly, exposing a glimpse of a steely gaze. "It appears your information was incomplete. The technology you seek resides not in anonymous government facilities, but here, with me." A murmur rippled through the global audience. Who was this man, claiming control over the technology the invaders sought? Volkov remained silent, processing this unexpected turn of events. Alistair continued, his voice devoid of emotion. "However, I do not share knowledge freely, especially with those who resort to violence. Stand down your attack, and perhaps we can discuss a mutually beneficial exchange." The world held its breath. Would the notorious pirates accept this offer or unleash their fury on the defenseless planet? Volkov, a seasoned warrior with a reputation for ruthlessness, faced a difficult choice. He had never encountered an individual capable of challenging him both intellectually and technologically. "Interesting proposition," Volkov finally spoke, his voice devoid of its earlier arrogance. "But how can I be certain you possess what we seek?" Alistair smiled, a small, predatory smirk that sent shivers down the spines of those watching. "Perhaps a demonstration is in order." He raised his hand, and a blinding light erupted from his concealed wrist device. The light arced towards the Void Marauder ship, enveloping it in a crackling energy field. The colossal vessel shuddered, its shields failing under the unexpected attack. Alistair lowered his hand, the smile still playing on his lips. "I believe your answer is clear, Captain." Volkov, facing the unexpected power wielded by this lone individual, was forced to make a decision. He could continue the attack, risking further damage to his ship and potentially facing an even more devastating response. Or, he could accept this unorthodox encounter and see if this enigmatic Dr. Thorne truly held the key to the technology he desired. The world watched, captivated, as the fate of their first encounter with an alien civilization hung in the balance. In that moment, Dr. Alistair Thorne, the reluctant hero, had become the center of attention, a solitary figure holding the power to determine the future of his planet and potentially change the course of intergalactic relations. His gamble had begun, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Volkov's voice, now laced with a grudging respect, crackled through the speakers. "Very well, Dr. Thorne. We accept your challenge. However, be warned, any attempt at deception will be met with swift and brutal retaliation." Alistair raised an eyebrow, the smirk on his face widening ever so slightly. "Threats are hardly necessary, Captain. Trust plays no role in this game. We shall see if your needs and my capabilities align." With that, the energy field around the Void Marauder ship dissipated. A tense silence descended, broken only by the collective sigh of relief echoing across the globe. The world, still reeling from the initial shock of the invasion, now held its breath as they witnessed the beginning of an unprecedented negotiation. Alistair gestured towards the sky. "I propose a venue more conducive to discussion. Follow me." As the mammoth ship maneuvered cautiously, dwarfing everything below, a flicker of unease crossed Alistair's face. He was a master strategist, but even he couldn't predict the outcome of this encounter. He had gambled by stepping out of the shadows, becoming the face of Earth's defense, a role he never desired. Yet, in doing so, he had ignited a spark of hope, showcasing a power that defied the expectations of both the invaders and the world itself. Meanwhile, within the depths of the Void Marauder ship, Captain Volkov convened his lieutenants, his face a mask of conflicting emotions. He had underestimated this earthly individual, his intellect, and his unexpected resources. Yet, a flicker of respect sparked within him. "Prepare the docking bay," Volkov commanded, his voice firm. "We are entering uncharted territory. Tread carefully." The massive ship, once a symbol of fear and destruction, descended slowly towards the unassuming cornfield, its shadow encompassing the figure of Dr. Alistair Thorne. The world watched, captivated, as the first interaction between humanity and an alien civilization took place, not on a battlefield, but in the shadow of a single, unassuming mansion. It was a meeting of minds, a game of strategy, and the prelude to an encounter that would forever change the course of human history, all orchestrated by the enigmatic and reluctant hero, Dr. Alistair Thorne. As the colossal vessel descended upon the cornfield, its immense size casting a distorted shadow on the surrounding farms, Dr. Alistair Thorne stood impassively, a solitary figure dwarfed by the alien technology. Inside the mansion, however, his mind was a whirlwind of intricate calculations and strategic maneuvers. He had played his initial hand, showcasing a glimpse of his power to deter the pirates' attack. Now, it was time to ensure the negotiation, and eventually the pirates' departure, unfolded on his terms. The docking sequence was a marvel of alien technology and human ingenuity. A shimmering energy bridge materialized between the underside of the ship and a platform that extended from the mansion, its construction a testament to Alistair's hidden technological arsenal. As a contingent of Void Marauder soldiers, clad in sleek, black armor, marched cautiously across the bridge, Alistair stood at the entrance, his face obscured by the shadows cast by his wide-brimmed hat. Captain Volkov, a hulking figure with cybernetic enhancements and a face etched with battle scars, emerged last. He eyed Alistair with a mixture of cautious respect and lingering suspicion. "Dr. Thorne," he rumbled, his voice echoing in the vast hall, "I see you are prepared for our meeting." Alistair inclined his head slightly. "Indeed, Captain. I believe it's best to conduct delicate matters in a comfortable environment." He gestured towards a doorway, leading them into a seemingly ordinary study. However, as Volkov and his entourage stepped inside, their eyes widened in surprise. The room was no ordinary study. It was a technological marvel disguised as a quaint library. Holographic displays flickered, showcasing intricate schematics and advanced weaponry unlike anything the pirates had ever seen. Alistair took a seat behind a seemingly antique desk, his presence seemingly dwarfed by the vast holographic displays surrounding him. He offered the pirates no refreshments, no gestures of hospitality. This was not a negotiation between equals. He was showcasing his dominance, establishing himself as the one in control. "Now, Captain," he began, his voice calm and measured, "let's discuss the terms of this exchange." He proceeded to outline his offer, not in typical diplomatic terms, but with a calculated mix of technical jargon and veiled threats. He spoke of the dangers of unrestricted knowledge falling into the wrong hands, subtly alluding to the destructive capabilities of the technology he possessed. He hinted at the potential for collaboration, for a mutually beneficial partnership, but only if the pirates adhered to his strict conditions. Volkov listened intently, his initial arrogance replaced by a grudging respect. He recognized the power held by this unassuming earthling, the intellectual and technological prowess concealed within the walls of this rural mansion. Alistair wasn't pleading with the pirates. He was presenting them with a calculated proposition, one they couldn't simply refuse. As the negotiation progressed, Alistair played his cards expertly. He dropped subtle hints about his knowledge of their past operations, subtly reminding them of their vulnerabilities while showcasing his own vast network of information. He played on their fear, their greed, and their desire for power, manipulating them like expert puppet masters, pulling the strings to ensure his objectives were met. The negotiation was far from over, fraught with tension and veiled threats, but the initial power dynamic had been established. Dr. Alistair Thorne, the reluctant hero, had taken center stage, manipulating the fate of his world in the face of an unknown alien threat. His true brilliance, however, lay not in his technology, but in the subtle art of strategy, the ability to control a situation without ever losing his detached indifference. This was just the beginning, and Alistair, the ultimate player in a cosmic game, was ready to make the next move. Days turned into weeks, the once peaceful cornfield now a bustling hub of activity. The gargantuan Void Marauder ship, docked awkwardly in the field, served as a constant reminder of the delicate balance Alistair had achieved. Inside the mansion, however, the tension remained thick. Alistair, his face illuminated by the cool glow of holographic displays, monitored the movements of the pirates with a hawk-like focus. He had agreed to share some of his technology, but only the outdated and irrelevant fragments, mere breadcrumbs compared to the true feast of knowledge he possessed. Captain Volkov, frustrated and increasingly suspicious, grew restless. He demanded access to the true technology, the power he had initially sought. Alistair, feigning confusion, brushed him off, citing the complexity of integrating their different systems and the need for rigorous testing. The charade couldn't last forever. Volkov, sensing deception, resorted to more forceful tactics. Armed patrols roamed the grounds, their advanced weaponry a constant threat. Alistair, however, remained unfazed. He knew the pirates were at his mercy, their fear of his hidden arsenal and vast knowledge keeping them at bay. One tense evening, as negotiations reached a stalemate, Volkov confronted Alistair directly. "Enough of your games, Thorne," he growled, his voice laced with barely contained anger. "Show us what you truly possess, or face the consequences." Alistair leaned back in his chair, a sly smile playing on his lips. "Captain," he drawled, his voice devoid of fear, "you misunderstand. I have shown you what you need. It's up to you to decipher the true potential." He gestured towards a holographic display depicting a complex network of data streams and schematics. To Volkov's untrained eyes, it appeared chaotic, meaningless. However, Alistair had subtly embedded hints, coded messages within the technical jargon, leading them towards a specific, outdated technology, a cloaking device. Volkov, frustrated and desperate, fell for the bait. He believed it was the key to the power he desired, the true prize hidden within the information overload. Days turned into weeks again as the pirates, under Alistair's watchful eye, meticulously researched and attempted to replicate the outdated technology. Finally, the day arrived. The pirates, with a smug sense of accomplishment, completed their work. They had their prize, a technology generations behind its original form, thanks to Alistair's carefully disguised guidance. Volkov, with a triumphant smirk, announced his intention to leave, believing he had achieved his objective. Alistair, his plan in motion, offered a noncommittal nod. As the Void Marauders ship, cloaked in its newly acquired, advanced system, prepared for departure, a wry smile spread across Alistair's face. He had not only dissuaded them from attacking Earth, but also sent them back with a useless, outdated tool, further fueling their misguided sense of superiority. They left, unaware that their cloak, visible to Alistair's advanced sensors, broadcast a beacon, revealing their location to every other spacefaring power with similar technology. Alistair, the master manipulator, had not only protected his world but also set the stage for a potential intergalactic conflict, one he would undoubtedly observe with detached amusement, a silent puppet master playing a game on a cosmic chessboard. His victory, however, brought no sense of satisfaction, only further solidifying his cynical view of the universe, a game of perpetual conflict and manipulation, a game he was determined to play by his own rules. The roar of departing engines faded into the night, leaving behind a silence broken only by the cicadas chirping in the cornfield. Inside the mansion, Alistair stood before the holographic map of the galaxy, a single finger tracing the path of the retreating Void Marauder ship. "They've taken the bait," he murmured, a hint of a triumphant smile playing on his lips. He turned to face the holographic image of his father, a man whose kind eyes held a lifetime of wisdom. It was a past memory, captured and preserved within the mansion's vast memory banks. "Father," he began, his voice laced with a quiet sadness despite his victory, "I protected them, as you wished. But did I truly save them, or just condemn them to a different kind of conflict?" The image remained silent, a testament to its preserved nature. Alistair sighed, his gaze returning to the departing ship. "Perhaps you were right," he continued, his voice low and introspective. "Perhaps isolation wasn't the answer. Maybe humanity needs a push, a reason to unite, to reach for the stars, not out of greed or violence, but out of the need to survive." He tapped the control panel, a single command sending a signal across the galaxy. The cloaking device on the Void Marauder ship sputtered and died, revealing their location to any and all who possessed the technology to see through it. "Let them have their games," Alistair said, a hint of cold amusement in his voice. The universe is vast, and there's always a bigger fish to fry. He watched as the holographic representation of the ship, its location now exposed, was bombarded with signals from various factions across the stellar expanse. The pirates, unaware of the trap they had fallen into, were left to face the consequences of their actions, unknowingly entangled in a conflict far beyond their comprehension. Alistair, the architect of their demise, remained alone in his study. He was no hero, nor did he crave the title. He was simply a man playing a game he understood better than anyone. He was the silent observer, the manipulator in the shadows, content to play the cards he was dealt, manipulating the grand chessboard of the cosmos, one move at a time. His motivations remained shrouded in mystery, his true goals hidden behind a facade of apathy. Perhaps he sought to protect humanity, or perhaps he merely found amusement in the grand cosmic dance of power and chaos. One thing was certain. Dr. Alistair Thorne, the enigmatic genius of Earth, would continue to play his game, a solitary figure in the vastness of space, forever observing, forever manipulating, forever the master of his own destiny.